The top 10 board game expansions of 2021.
Thank you for joining us at Tantrum Mouse Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
We are talking about the best expansions of 2021 because, board games are cool, but when they get expansions, they're even cooler.
Or at least hopefully.
Hopefully cooler. So we're going to share with you some of the best ones that came out in 2021. Some of them on the list I think may be just coming out. But
since all those shipping delays and everything.
Since we got to play them, we thought we might as well include them on the list. So, well, let's get started on today's top 10.
Number 10.
Number 10, we're cheating already because we have two games. And the reason these two games are on number 10 spot because we haven't played these expansions.
Right.
And I thought, though, these games are so hot, I just wanted to make sure we included them in the top 10 list because pretty sure people are going to be like, why weren't these games on your top 10 list? Which we hear a lot. So we have Endangered.
Right, Endangered New Species. So Endangered is a cooperative game where you're trying to save endangered species.
That's from Grand Gamers Guild.
And it already had quite a few scenarios and species, but then the expansion brings even more. You have sea turtles and polar bears, jaguars, lots of new species. I think there are about 7 new species in this expansion and then more scenarios, so you can keep expanding the game for the different endangered species.
The other one for our number 10 is the expansion to Dune Imperium called Rise of Ix. The expansion includes 3 new houses for unique leader abilities. Also, you can acquire technologies at the planet Ix, and then also deploy some dreadnoughts to rule the skies as well. So definitely check out the expansion to Dune Imperium, which Dune Imperium was on Will's favorite game.
Oh, the top 10 list of the year.
Technically, I think it was a 2020 game, but...
well, Will cheats.
Number 9. So number 9 is Marvel United Xmen. I actually don't know whether this is technically an expansion.
So it's kind of a standalone game, but it does expand the Marvel United universe.
That's right. The X-Men are now in the Marvel United games. A lot of people love Marvel United with all the different things going on in that. The X-Men, I feel, do bring a couple unique things to the gameplay with the anti-heroes. So they have, in this game, they have Mystique and Magneto. So an anti-hero you could play...
either way.
Good. And you can actually be playing, you can be that character, or you can play against those characters. And in the game, they're purple colored, so they are unique. So I really like that they added that to Marvel United.
Number 8. So we have, the box here is Fantasy Realms, but the expansion is The Cursed Hoard. And I've really enjoyed playing Fantasy Realms. Once we got the expansion, I basically just put it into the game, took away the cards that they replaced, and only play with the expansion now.
Yeah, the Cursed Hoard brings a few new things to the game that I actually like too. The cursed items are fun, and you would think that all cursed items will give you negative points, but there actually are some cursed items that give you positive points too, which I appreciate.
And then there's also 3 new suits added to the game. You have buildings, you have undead, and outsiders. So that's just even more things that you can look for and combo together. It does change a few of the rules, so you're going to have 8 cards in your hand instead of 7, and the end game's triggered at 12 cards in the discard instead of 10. So it makes the game go slightly longer.
Number 7. We have the expansion to Eco's First Continent from AEG. This is called New Horizon.
Ooh, does it bring new horizons?
It does, because there's 2 main things it adds to the game. A new card mechanic that adds landscapes to the game, which I find intriguing, like Kilimanjaro and things like that, which I think is very thematic with the game, First Continent. And also, I think a lot of people will also enjoy the new animals
New animals.
it's really an integral part of the game. So crocodiles and zebras and animals like that you're going to find in New Horizons.
Number 6. So we have the expansion to Aquatica, and this one is called Cold Waters. It adds a 5th player to the game.
That's important.
So it has more components for that 5th player. There's also a new location, so cards for that location, some new creatures, water creatures, some new leaders. And then the biggest thing I think it adds from a gameplay standpoint is a new... Instead of using the goals, you can use the tribe board, and you're completing these cards to get benefits. And that's one of the ways that you end the game instead of completing goals.
Yeah, I kind of like what the Cold Waters brings to the game a lot. The tribes were with the different goals, because they have some that are on the left side and some on the right side, and you can complete them different. Like some are like basically you're getting immediate benefits, or some are more long-term end game benefits. I kind of like that in the game. Number 5. We have the expansion to Tapestry. Actually, we have the second expansion to Tapestry. The first one was called Plans and Ploys. But we're actually talking about the second expansion in this video called Arts and Architecture. It adds a whole bunch of new things. It has the landmark miniatures in this box. Pretty cool.
All of these landmarks, I think, are kind of Easter eggs, call-outs to other Stonemaier games.
That's pretty cool.
Kind of, a pumpkin house and stuff like that
for Charterstone. Big Ben Yeah. Okay, cool. I like that. I think one of the big things, it adds cards and civilizations and things like that. I think that's important for an expansion to add more things to keep the game refreshed. But I think one of the main things that Arts and Architecture has, that I think a lot of people like, is that new track, the art track. You have like in the base game the science track and the military track and things like that. I think what the art track brings to the game just really makes the game totally different, which I think a lot of people really enjoy. If you want to check out Jonah's video, he actually sort of compares Plans and Ploys to the Arts and Architecture and what expansion he likes better and things like that.
Spoiler, he really likes this one.
Arts and Architecture.
Number 4. There's another expansion for Clank in Space.
You love your Clanks?
I do. And this one is called Pulsarcade and kind of has a retro arcade theme. You actually have these little racer bike miniatures that you add into the game. It has 3 new tiles, and they're double-sided.
For like the game board?
So yes, so there's 6 new modules that you can mix and match for the game. Some of them use your little racing figures.
The one we played the other night had the little racing. I thought they were actually just the player pieces, but they're actually like a little game within the game.
So kind of a mini game. You're also trying to get tokens to be able to get your artifacts, and you do that by completing certain goals on the arcade machines.
I like that in the game.
And they're all like puns, like normal, like you would expect from Clank and Clank in Space. So I really enjoyed this one. I thought it brought some really interesting things to the game and a lot more variability. I
think what you need to do is a comparison video of all 3 Clank and Space expansions.
That sounds like a good video for 2022. So maybe sometime in the future.
Number 3 is the expansion to Trek 12 from Panasaurus Games. This is called Trek 12 +1. We've really enjoyed playing Trek 12 with a lot of different gaming groups. It's been very enjoyable, and I'm glad that there's more content for Trek 12.
So this is a roll and write that actually has challenge envelopes. So as you complete certain challenges, you get to open up the envelopes and there's more content in them. So that's a fun, interesting, it's not quite a campaign, but there's surprises as you keep playing the game. And this one adds a few more envelopes and another base map to play for your game. Now, Trek 12 did make it into my top 10.
You should check out the girls' video, the top 10 board games of 2021 according to the ladies, and see if you like their video better than the guys' video.
Number 2. So we have Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, the Secrets and Soirees expansion.
We've really enjoyed playing Between Two Castles. It plays a large number of people, which I appreciate.
Yeah, one of my favorite games. So this expansion brings 2 new room types, the activity rooms and the secret passages. So those are interesting to incorporate into your strategies. And then I think you said you really liked the ballrooms.
Ballrooms are really cool because you're actually looking at what your neighbors' castles are doing, and if they are doing well in certain types of rooms or things like that, you actually can get points in your castle for that. I really appreciate that. The art, of course, is just as good as the original art, but the secret passageways are really fun to see on the little art pieces.
Like hidden behind a mirror or in the trapdoor, that sort of thing. Another big thing with this expansion is it does add a solo mode, which the original game didn't have, and there are some rules for a couple different variants for playing multiplayer and 2-player. So different ways to play the game are added in this one.
Number 1, we have the expansion to Lost Ruins of Arnak from CGE. Lost Ruins of Arnak was one of our favorite games of last year. We're so happy that they brought an expansion to the game. The Leaders.
Right.
The Expedition Leaders is the name of the expansion.
And it involves having leaders, which are asymmetrical player powers. And,
I really like that in games, personally.
Right, and you actually get a unique starting deck with powers and a unique player board with all different sorts of things going on.
In games, you might have, they call it asymmetric powers, but all it is a special power that your character has. I like that you have different cards that are basically tied to the leader. Really appreciate that. You played the Falconer the one game, and like the
trying to move the Falcon up the track and decide when to take the bonus.
I played with the Mystic, where you're trying to collect fear cards to do things with the fear cards, like rituals and things like that. I really find what those asymmetric powers really integrate well into the gameplay.
Yeah, it pushes you into different strategies. So if you're like, oh, I always do this, well, if you play with a different character, you might want to explore something different to really maximize that character's abilities and strengths.
And the expansion also brings new research tracks, which I find important too, because there's, in the original game, there's only 2 research tracks, the one side of the game board and the other side. So this brings 2 more with a new board. I like that there's different ways of going up the research track. That gives you different variability to the game.
Yeah, a lot more to explore and different emphasis on things that you're doing during the game. So it hopefully doesn't get too stale. It hasn't gotten stale for me, even the base game, but I really do love this expansion. So
we'd love to hear from you what expansions to games you've played this year. Have you played any of the ones that were on our list? Did you enjoy them? Let us know in the comments. And definitely check out the girls' videos and the guys' video, the top 10. We really enjoyed putting those together.
I'm falling off my chair. That's going to make it in the outtake.
3, 2.
So there's another expansion.
Expansions.